Now, when value and performance come together and are executed in an eye-catching design, man, do I get excited. And that is exactly what's going on with this Kizer Mini Harpoon in American-sourced 3V steel that I paid $60 for. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another blade review here at the channel. If you're new, I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical, and I want to thank you, the viewers, for recommending this to me, because I don't know if I would have jumped on it, but many of you have been messaging me lately saying, dude, have you seen this new Mini Harpoon? I mean, great value, you know, 3V steel. And so I decided to pull the trigger on it, and I can't get it out of my hands since having purchased it and using it. Now, it's not perfect. There are a few things that we're going to highlight today, as well as some competitive options for you guys, but this is near perfection if you are looking for high value and you're looking for an EDC fixed blade to get a lot of utility tasks done. Now, a lot of that is because of this harpoon shaped full flat grind. That's what that is, all the way up, 3-inch blade, so really executes a balance of compactness without going overly small or overly large. There is a full-size variant as well if you like things a little bit bigger. I believe that's 3.8 inches. Now, this is an 1/8 of an inch thick stock. It's 2.1 ounces for the knife itself, plus the Kydex sheath that we're gonna get into. And with that slight milling on the clip right there, and then just that nice drop in, reminds me a little bit in the styling of like the old school SOG seal pups. And the designer is based here in the US, James Buckley, who is the founder of Maverick Customs. He started doing knives and tools in 2016. So he's the designer. Kizer, based in China, is the one who executes the design. Now, when it comes to blade performance itself, slicing is the name of the game. This is very sliceable in most tasks. The edge geometry I was really pleased with. That means that it's going to go through cardboard, cordage, food prep. Those type of activities is really where I saw it shine, going through zip ties, you know, doing those type of things, really ideally set up for everyday scenarios that you're going to run into. A little bit of carving. I wouldn't call it a dedicated bushcraft or like woods knife. Very high full flat grinds I've found in this thin a stock are okay, and with that, you know, swedge and different things like that, there are better options for dedicated woods use. But for general, you know, like, oh, I just need to get a feather stick or just shape some wood, you could absolutely do that. And definitely with that drop in and a 90-degree spine can get sparks going and gives you a good lock-in point there and a deep cut in, so that you can, you know, do push cuts and do those type of things. And speaking of the outdoors, even though this might not be the best dedicated compact bush knife and kind of more of a jack of all trades knife, one tool and piece of kit that I take with me on all of my adventures and that would make an excellent gift idea this holiday season is today's sponsor, which is Hardside Hydration. And Dane and Dustin, the founders of this American-based company, came up with a solution to a problem myself and many of us have had on trail for years, which is we want that hands-free hose for hydration, but having it not attached to some cumbersome, hard to clean, hard to maintain water bladder. Their swig rig system attaches to your favorite wide-mouthed or narrow-mouthed Nalgene or other favorite water bottle like a Yeti or even a Smart bottle, depending if you go with the original or the ultralight. And the system really allows me to not only gauge where my water is, because it's on the exterior of my pack, I'm not worried about it leaking inside my bag and getting stuff dirty. It gives more access to the equipment if I need to refill it on trail and purify some water and top off. And when I get to camp, I can just detach the hose and then I have my water bottle back for around camp. So it's just a really good streamlined process that myself, my friends and family have really started to love and enjoy and would make an excellent gift this holiday season. So I'm gonna have a link in the description box below, as well as popping up here, along with my exclusive 10% off promo code that you guys can apply towards your purchase, and you can either score it for yourself or a loved one this holiday season. Now, as we wrap up the blade itself here, we have a very precise tip. The tip is very fine, and that means great penetration, amazing precision, excellent for maybe cleaning out a fish, piercing into packaging, God forbid, defending yourself, know what you're doing, I don't recommend that, yada, yada, all that, all the legalese. But Piercing, excellent with that. Now, because of how thin and fine and being basically a full flat, I wouldn't recommend any type of lateral torquing with this. Piercing, it does excellent. I would not be going cranking side to side with it, even with the 3V steel, which partly is due, why I don't recommend that, to the Rockwell that they've chosen, which is 61 to 62.5 is what Kizer states on their site, which is actually shockingly impressive for this type of knife, a small knife, because usually we'll find like 59 to 60 ballpark is what I see usually, maybe even 58 to 60 for CPM 3V steel, usually Rockwell on like larger knives. Now what that means, its toughness is brought down maybe slightly, even though 3V is a very tough steel, for better edge retention, and the edge retention is impressive on this particular blade, and I think that that is fine for how small the knife is. So I really appreciate that. That really does work well for the type of task you're going to put this knife through. You know, it's not a huge bruiser, 6-inch, survival knife, in which case that might not be the best Rockwell for, a knife of that size. So better compensating edge retention and bringing that up for a slightly less level of durability. Now, this has kind of a gray flat coating on there. I know that there's some black coatings as well. It's wearing just a little bit, and that's not a bother to me whatsoever. Now, as we go to ergonomics, I will highlight one issue, the one of two that I found, is that the scales are not super lined up. Like, it definitely has some, lips there. It drops a little bit. You can maybe loosen it, try and get it more adjusted, but it looks like they're not quite flush in a couple areas, which isn't the end of the world, particularly at $60. And I will have a link popping up as well as in the description below over to my Amazon store, as well as a few other affiliates if you're interested in this, as well as the competitive options I'm going to run in. So for the price, I'm not like concerned about that. And if it really bothered you, you could obviously just take like a piece of sandpaper, put it in a little vise, and take a half hour in the shop, and it'll be all flush and all good to go. Now, my handle is burlap micarta. There is also a few other variants. I really like the burlap micarta. They have rounded the sides, but they have not machined the shoulders. And we see this a lot with overseas produced compact fixed blades. I have another variant from another company. They do basically the same thing, where it's just totally flat, and we have this nice rounding and then kind of an abrupt shoulder. Now, thankfully, it didn't create a hot spot for me, but it's just something that I noticed that it would have been nicer to have it rounded. It would have just brought the ergonomics up even more. Now, the handle is, I think it's like 3.5 inches, and my handle is large size. My hand, I wear large size gloves, is 3.25 inches across, whoosh, like that. You can see there, I can just get full 4-finger grip, and I have just a little bit of real estate out the back there. Now, it's kind of a coffin design, tapering near the neck and then flaring out, filling out your hand near that back end. So it is a 4-finger knife, but just barely. If you have larger hands than me, and that span starts getting like maybe 3.5 to 4, 3.25 inches spanning width, you may want to look at the full-size version with the larger handle and larger blade. Might be a little bit more ergonomic for you. But even though it has a thin neck, the drop in really locks me in, and where the thumb rest is, I always felt in control, and my hand never really floated because I wasn't doing any super hard bearing down tasks. Because of how thin the grind is, you don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. As we go to the sheath is superb in the sense of its design. The one bogus part is this knockoff Blade Tech lock on the back is garbage. As soon as I got it, one of these two adjustment tabs broke off in like 30 minutes, snapped, was irreplaceable. And then a little bit later, the pin, which is the latch, almost fell out. So it's not secure in there, and if it fell out, then this clip becomes absolutely useless. So the attachment point is garbage. I wouldn't trust it. I would actually upgrade it, and what I'm going to do on this is get an ulti-clip. So you can just get an ulti-clip, screw it in right there on those two screw attachment points, and then pocket carry, do whatever you want to do. Or you could do a Molly lock or Blade Tech lock, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to do an ulti-clip because it's perfectly set up to do right here pocket carry because of the taco design and the excellent thumb ramp. And look at that. I can deploy and don't have to do any walk up. I can do that the same in a reverse grip. And it's silent. Excellent tension in there. The Kydex sheath for EDC carry is superb. You know, I mean, you can have good blade and, you know, good handle, but if the sheath on a compact knife like this is kind of junky or just doesn't work right, or, you know, huge, then you're not going to carry it. This totally screams upgrade to an ulti-clip and then start carrying it in your pocket. So there's that. Let's look at a couple. I have two options here for us. The first comes from VOSTEED, the MINK, previously reviewed Nitro V. I think they're charging the same or more. I think these are between 60 and 70 bucks for these. Ever so slightly larger handle and blade. Very high grind though. Nitro V, nothing to, you know, balk at. Very cool design. You can see there, full purchase, sweeping blade, thin stock. This is a micarta as well, but you can see flat, you know, flat on the top, flat on the bottom, and these are even flat on the sides. So this is actually slightly more ergonomic in the sense of the shoulders, but the neck is actually wider and then tapers down backwards. So it's almost kind of like a reverse handle grip, but it's a very good design for, you know, the type of style, and particularly under, you know, 100 bucks. We got a good Kydex sheath, but it is pancake, so it is a larger profile than the design on the mini Harpoon, just so we can see there, but it comes with one of those bogus, you know, blade tech locks as well. Good tension, so that's a very viable option if you're wanting something just a little bit different and you're like, that Harpoon just doesn't really, you know, connect with me. That is a very good EDC blade to have in rotation. And then on the flip side, an American-made option. This is the CICOTTE. Shout out to HOUGHTON Outdoors. These are made from Aaron and his brother Nate. They are doing all the manufacturing right now. You know, they're getting the blanks and then they're doing all the work in-house. CPM 154 currently. This is kind of like a compact paring knife, but you can even see there, like, the shoulders are better rounded, you know, just a more ergonomic design, but the same size, just not as broad. And an excellent Kydex sheath, superb Kydex sheath. They're about 160 when in stock. They're doing small batches right now. So if you're interested, I'll have a link popping up and in the description, and you could go get on, like, their mailing list and follow them on Instagram. They're doing a lot over there, and then you know when, you know, batches drop. And I think I said it, but 160, so $100 more, but made all here in the USA by a small company getting their start, which is freaking awesome. So there it is, guys. The mini Harpoon. If you're in the market for compact EDC fixed blade, for the price, you're getting a superb steel, and you're getting a really cool profile, and it freaking works, man. I mean, this is a cool blade and a very high value, high performing tool for those scenarios. Kind of that jack of all trades design is how I see it. But I want to know from you guys, particularly if you own one, how has it been performing for you? Leave comments below, questions maybe that I didn't answer. I'll do my best to answer in the comment section. So appreciate you guys. Check out the other videos, subscribe if you haven't, and until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.